You've bought cocoa powder your entire life. You've seen cacao on expensive health products and assumed it was a spelling variation, a branding choice, maybe a foreign language difference. Same thing, different label. You were wrong. These are not the same substance. They don't process the same way. They don't affect your body the same way. One has been through a transformation that fundamentally alters its chemical composition. And the food industry has quietly allowed the confusion to persist because the confusion is profitable. Here's the truth. Cacao and cocoa come from the same bean. But what happens to that bean after harvest separates them into two completely different products. If hidden systems like this make you think differently, subscribe to Simple Facts. Every week we expose the invisible mechanics running your daily decisions. Rewind. 3,000 years ago. The Olmec civilization of Mesoamerica discovered the cacao tree and understood something immediately. This plant was not food. It was medicine. It was currency. It was ritual. They consumed raw cacao as a bitter ceremonial drink mixed with water and spices. No sugar, no milk, no processing. Pure, unaltered bean ground and dissolved. The Mayans inherited the practice and called it the food of the gods. Not metaphorically, but literally. Reserved for warriors, priests, and rulers. They understood, through centuries of direct observation, that raw cacao produced effects on the body and mind that no other plant matched. Energy without the collapse. Clarity without agitation. Mood elevation that lasted. Enter the mechanism. Here is where the split happens, and why it matters completely. Raw cacao is exactly what the name describes. The bean harvested, fermented briefly, dried at low temperatures, and ground into powder or pressed into butter. The fermentation is critical. It develops flavor complexity and begins activating beneficial compounds. But the temperature stays low throughout. The bean's internal chemistry remains largely intact. Cocoa is cacao that has been roasted. High heat, sustained temperature, industrial scale. That roasting process develops the familiar chocolate flavor profile. Deeper, smoother, more palatable to mass market taste. But heat is indiscriminate. It develops flavor and destroys nutrition simultaneously. Cocoa is the same soldier after being processed through a system that removed most of the weapons to make the uniform look better. Same origin, completely different capability. Now see how the industry built profit on this confusion. Raw cacao retains measurable concentrations of flavonols, compounds with documented effects on cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and inflammatory response. Studies show regular consumption of high flavonol cacao products correlates with reduced blood pressure and improved arterial function. The health food market recognized this and positioned raw cacao as a premium wellness product, priced accordingly. Meanwhile, standard cocoa powder, highly processed, nutritionally diminished, sells at a fraction of the price while carrying packaging that implies identical health benefits through similar visual presentation and almost identical naming. Most consumers never investigate the processing difference. They see chocolate. They assume chocolate. The industry never volunteers the distinction clearly. The confusion generates margin. Cacao and cocoa start as the same bean in the same pod on the same tree. What separates them is a process: heat, industrial transformation, chemical alteration in pursuit of palatability and shelf life. The original compound, complex, bitter, nutritionally dense, becomes something smoother, more pleasant, and significantly less powerful. This pattern repeats across the entire food system. The most nutritionally valuable form of almost every food is its least processed version. The most commercially successful form is the one engineered for taste, shelf life, and margin, not for what it actually does to your body. Know the difference between what something is and what it has been made into. They are rarely the same thing. Subscribe to Simple Facts, because in a world built on processed everything, knowing the original is always the advantage.